Warning, this video contains subject matter that may be disturbing to some viewers. So let's get the housekeeping out of the way. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. All of the information gathered is from news sources or an internet search, and any opinions expressed by me is just that, my opinion. With that being said, let's jump into it. Hi everybody, I want to thank you for joining me today. Today's episode is going to be all about updates. There's some new information out on some of the cases that we've already highlighted that we're going to talk about. So if you are not familiar with some of these cases or you're new to this channel, please go back to the videos and watch some of the overviews that we've already done so that you can catch up on what we're talking about. The first update is going to be on the Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell case. Right now, the grand jury is convening to see if they can determine what happened in the deaths of Tylee Ryan, JJ Vallow, and Tammy Daybell. So we know Tylee and JJ are Lori Vallow Daybell's minor children who were missing and found deceased buried on Chad Daybell's property. And Tammy Daybell is the previous wife of Chad Daybell, who died at home suspiciously of natural causes. So the grand jury convened on the 17th of this month, May 2021, and they're due to be done on the 22nd. So what this means is that the grand jury is looking over all of the evidence in the cases so that they can determine if a crime was committed, who committed the crime, and if charges can be brought forth in these deaths. So I think what's most surprising about this turn of events is that they included Tammy Daybell in the grand jury because we know that they resumed Tammy's body and did an autopsy, but they never would reveal what the results of that was. So I think we kind of had an idea that they may have found something, but because in all the other deaths they were unable to find any evidence of a crime, I think we were just kind of waiting on pins and needles to see what happened with Tammy's autopsy. Grand jury proceedings are held in private, so we won't be getting any updates on what's going on inside those proceedings. We're going to have to wait until after the 22nd. And at that point, we will see if there's any indictments that come from the proceedings. Right now, both Chad and Lori are still in jail, currently awaiting trial on charges of conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence, and felony conspiracy to conceal evidence charges. It's almost been a full year since the bodies of Tylee and JJ were discovered on Chad Daybell's property, and we've all been waiting for murder charges, which we haven't seen yet. I mean, let's be real, these two children didn't kill themselves and bury themselves on Chad's property. So it looks like we will get some sort of answers pretty soon, hopefully by the end of this month. And we'll all have to just wait a little bit longer to find out if Chad and Lori are going to face charges in these deaths. The next update is on the Suzanne Morphew case. Suzanne is a missing mother and wife out of Colorado. She's been missing since Mother's Day of last year, 2020. So right at 1 year. We know that recently Suzanne's husband, Barry Morphew, was arrested and charged with first-degree murder in connection with the death of his wife, who remains missing, by the way. She still has not been found. But just this last week, Barry Morphew is now facing new charges. So when Barry was first arrested, his charges were first-degree murder after deliberation, tampering with physical evidence, and attempting to influence a public servant. The new charges that he faces this week are forgery of public record and election mail ballot offense. So you may be wondering where these charges came from. Well, let me tell you. So even though Suzanne is a missing person and was a missing person during the last presidential elections, Barry Morphew decided to take it upon himself to cast a vote for Suzanne. So, Suzanne's case has been extensively covered by the media in her area, especially. So when the county clerk received her mail-in ballot, she knew Suzanne was missing, so she contacted the sheriff's office. And what did Barry say about this? He said he knew Suzanne would have voted for Trump, and he wanted Trump to win, so he decided to go ahead and cast her vote for her. I mean, to me, this just shows the controlling nature of Barry. He not only allegedly took Suzanne's voice for good, he also tried to take her voice on who she was going to vote for. So I know that we've been asking the question, what evidence do the police have that Barry killed Suzanne? Well, this shows me they probably have way more evidence than we know about, because Barry's obviously not that bright. And speaking of not that bright, that leads me to Aiden Fuchi. Now, Aiden is the 14-year-old boy who was recently arrested for the murder of Tristyn Bailey, who was just 13 years old. Tristyn's body was found May 10th in a wooded area, just less than 24 hours after she had been reported missing, and had been seen on surveillance video walking into that wooded area with Aiden. And a couple of hours later, Aiden walking out of that wooded area by himself. And there's a couple of new things to note in this case. One is that a motion was filed yesterday. Aiden's attorney is dismissing himself from the case. Now, Aiden is currently being held in a detention center for at least 21 days from the date of his arrest, which was May 10th. So the state has that amount of time to determine if they're going to charge him as an adult, which in my opinion, they should. He committed an adult crime. And to me, it doesn't seem like he is showing any remorse for what he's done. While he was being detained, he posted a selfie to Snapchat, appearing to be kind of mocking the whole situation. He also appeared to be rolling his eyes multiple times during his preliminary hearing. And I saw a report yesterday on the news that said he had told one of the sheriff's deputies that he was proud of what he had done. So after his attorney filed his motion to be removed from the case, another motion was filed on Monday to determine if the Fuchi family has an indigency status, meaning could they afford an attorney or do they need one to be provided to them? According to Florida statutes, an applicant, including an applicant who is a minor, is indigent if the applicant's income is equal to or below 200% of the then current federal poverty guidelines. So I'm just going to take an uneducated guess here, and I'm going to say that likely what is happening is that his parents had hired an attorney for his preliminary hearing just so that he would have counsel, but they now are going to accept a public defender because obviously a 14-year-old boy's income is going to be below the poverty level in most cases. So a couple of other things to note in this case is that a petition on change.org has gathered more than 200,000 signatures urging the state attorney's office to charge Fuchi as an adult, which I've already said my opinion. He committed an adult crime. I believe he needs to be charged as an adult. I also just wanted to mention that this evening there will be a memorial service for Tristyn, and it's going to be held at the Celebration Church there in her St. John's, Florida community. So that is going to conclude our updates for today. Stay tuned. We have, I believe, some very interesting updates coming up soon on these cases and a few others. As always, thank you for joining us. And don't forget to hit those like, subscribe, and notification buttons so that you don't miss any future episodes.